Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is Children's Chapel, and I am glad you are with us. In fact, because it's Children's Chapel, I got my fun shirt on. Who's on my shirt? Sesame Street. And I have my friends May and Lily with me. It's Ladies' Day at Children's Chapel. So we've been going through this book, which is what is this?
Bible.
The Bible, and everything in the Bible is absolutely
Amazing.
true. It is amazing, but it's also absolutely true.
True.
It is absolutely true, and it's absolutely amazing. So everything in the Bible is absolutely true, and we've been doing the Old Testament, which is the beginning of the Bible. And we've been talking about our friend Moses. Now, Moses was born, and his mom protected him, and he put him in a basket, and then the Pharaoh's daughter caught him and raised him, and then Moses made a really bad choice and hurt somebody. Well, he kind of killed somebody. And then Moses ran away, but God said, "Hey, Moses, I need you to do me a favor." And Moses said, "I don't want to do that favor." But God said, "You need to do that favor." And he goes, "I don't want to." And God said, "You have to do it." And he went to the Pharaoh and he said, "Let my people go." And the Pharaoh said, "No." And so then all the plagues came, and there were frogs, and there were bugs, and there was blood, and there was fire, and there was all sorts of darkness. There was all sorts of things. But eventually the Pharaoh said, "Okay." And so we're getting to that place. Here we go. So we're going to start right here. And the girls, I got questions for you, okay, at the very end. We're going to do the 10 commandments. There's Moses, and there's all God's children, the Israelites, Jews. All right, after 400 years in Egypt, the Israelites were finally free. Can you imagine how that would feel? It wasn't easy. Immediately they ran into trouble, and immediately God showed up to help. The Red Sea was in the way of their escape, so God pushed the water aside as they walked through. They had no food to eat, so God sent birds for meat and weird flaky stuff called manna for bread. They had no water to drink, so God told Moses to hit a rock with a walking stick, and boom, a fountain of water came out of the rock. Can you imagine that? If you were hungry and thirsty, and all of a sudden God said, "Hit that rock," and you hit a rock, and the water came out of the rock?
Yeah.
And you told God, you're like, "I'm hungry." And so then all of a sudden little flakes of bread came out of the heaven? Would you be weirded out? I think it's weird, but God...
Can I tell you something?
What?
What if water was going under the rock? Water was flooding.
Oh my gosh, that would be crazy. All right. But even though God was with them, giving them everything they needed, the children of Israel still complained. "It's too hot. We're thirsty. We're tired of eating this weird flaky stuff. Was this the new land? Why do they have to be in the desert? How long will they be walking?" God wanted more than just to give them the land he had promised. He wanted to make them a nation whose king was God himself. The Israelites needed more than just direction for where to go. They needed direction for how to live. They needed to understand how to be a nation ruled by God. You see, even though they were children of Israel, they were sinned. Sometimes they were mean. Sometimes they would put themselves first. And remember, people who sin can't be close to God. So how could sinful people live with God as their king? This was going to be hard. It was going to take work. It was going to take rules. Lots and lots of rules. God led Moses to a mountain called Mount Sinai so they could talk about these rules. And he started out by giving Moses 10 really important ones. So important that he carved them into a big stone tablet. They were so important today that they have a name. The 10 Commandments. Can you say that? 10 Commandments. Commandments is a funny word. Oh, Pika's joined us. Okay. Here we go. The first rule. You must not have any other gods except me. It was a big one, except Egypt had lots of pretend gods. And some of the Israelites had started worshiping those gods instead of the true God. God made it clear that he was the only God they should not bow down to. Right? And then we do number 2. Can you put up 2 fingers? Rule number 2. God, do not make any idols. In the ancient world, an idol was usually a small statue that stood for a god. People would pray and give offerings to the statues. None of that, God said. Number 3, show me 3. Rule number 3, be careful how you use my name. God's name deserves respect. The Israelites were to use God's name seriously, only when they were talking to him. Rule 4, show me 4. Rule 4, Pika. Remember the Sabbath day. God wanted the Israelites to take one day each week and give that day to him as a reminder that everything they had was from God. Rule 5. Show me 5. 5. Honor your father and mother. Respect your mom and dad. Listen to them and take care of them when they're old and can't take care of themselves. That makes God happy. 6. Show me 6. 2 fingers, 2 hands. There you go. Do not murder anyone. There's lots of murder in the ancient world, but God didn't want to murder his own nation. 7. Show me 7. Good job. Do not be guilty of adultery. Adultery is when you take someone else's husband or wife and act like they're your husband or wife. It's sort of like stealing, and it breaks up families, which are very important to God. Rule 8. Show me 8. 1 hand, and then 3, Lily. 1, 2, 3. Keep these 2 close. Can you do it? Rule 8. Do not steal. Speaking of stealing, don't take things that belong to you. Okay, ready? Rule 9. Good, Meg. Good job.
4.
Good try, Lil. Do not tell lies. Be honest. Don't try to get yourself out of trouble or get other people into trouble by saying things that aren't true. Ready? Rule 10. 2 hands, mate, Lily. Good job. Last rule. Do not covet. Covet means to want to take. If you covet someone else's bike, it means you want to take his bike. God says to be happy with what you have. Don't desire to take the things other people have. 10 big rules carved into stone, but was that everything the Israelites needed to do to live? Not even close. Moses was about to learn that the 10 Commandments weren't the end of God's rules for Israelites. They were just the beginning. Do you guys have rules at your house? What kind of rules do you have at your house? What's your rule you have at your house? Are you allowed to hit each other at your house?
No.
Are you allowed to jump on your beds at your house?
No.
Are you allowed to tell a lie at your house?
No.
Are you allowed to go in the kitchen and get whatever food you want whenever you want it?
No.
Okay, so those are rules. Do you think mom and dad gave you those rules because they don't want you to have any fun?
No.
Why do you think they give you those rules?
So, you can be safe and healthy.
Exactly, safe and healthy. And that's why God gives us rules too. God doesn't come in and say, you know what? I don't want you people to have any fun, so I'm going to give you these rules. He gives us rules to keep us safe. Yes, Lily?
Sometimes when my mom and dad are asleep in their bed, we might get thirsty, so I just wake up and when it's bedtime and get some water.
I think that's okay. I don't think that's against the rules. But thanks for telling me. But God gives us rules not to hurt our feelings, not to make us mad. He's not trying to be a fun killer. He loves us, just like mom and dad love us, and so they give us rules to keep us safe and keep us healthy. God loves us and wants to keep us safe and wants to keep us healthy, right?
Yes.
So he wants us to follow 10 rules, 10 commandments. He gave to the Israelites, so we're going to find out soon that just doing 10 rules doesn't make you without sin. See you next week.